Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to Ero's F3, round 3 of the championship of our season 6. We are just preparing to get ready and underway for you all, and I hope everybody's well and certainly well prepared for this afternoon's racing. My name is Webbo. This is my debut on Ero. But I've been commentating a little while, so you're in relatively safe hands. I can't wait to get going here. I'm thrilled to be given the opportunity to commentate for such a prestigious league, and we're heading to the Shanghai International Circuit in China. Often a track fairly frequently avoided by many leagues that I've commentated for in the past. But actually, this one, I quite like it. So, I quite enjoy a race around Shanghai. I don't know about you. I'm on my own today. We'll see if we can't do something about that in future races. But just to let you know that round 1 was in Bahrain, and it was won by Davey, who I don't think is going to make it here today. We've got Patuka from Finland, who is in second in the championship from Pangrio. Patuka's from Finland. Pangrio in the Alfa Romeo is Greek. And those are the tops of our current standings, but we're only 3 races in, so hey, early days for the championship, and this championship's a pretty long one, so the drivers will be looking to make a really strong start. If you're joining us on the stream, welcome. Good to have you with us. Please let us know who you're here to support. By all means, start the chat, and I will do my best to keep an eye on proceedings for you to the best of my ability. I'm juggling screens as we speak, so I'll be with you as soon as possible. Just keeping an eye on the latest changes in the league chat as well. We'll see if I can give you any updates. We've got a few absences here and there. Obviously, a fairly unusual race time. I think qualifying only just finished in real life. I was just watching some of the drivers' reactions just as I was making my preparations today. So, in terms of drivers that I'm familiar with, I actually only know Frypepper. So I've been in leagues with Frypepper before, but doesn't mean to say I'll show any favouritism. Of course, I'm here just to call it down the middle and see what happens. I've asked the drivers to try and let me know when they DNF or if they have an issue, and I will do my best to keep you all informed as well. But looks like our driver's readying up, so we'll be underway pretty soon. We're heading for short qualifying, of course, and a 50% race, which in Shanghai equates to a 28 lap race. I believe I just saw flash up. Just checking everything is as we expect it to be. And I think our drivers are, well, half of them are readied up. I don't know if they've been they haven't actually had the official announcement yet. There it is, the official announcement. The green lights are on and we're about to get underway. Whether people have ticked ready up or not. So Frypepper asks if I'm in the party. I'm not in a party because I think I think that's going to be more trouble than it's worth, dude. I'm not going to be able to listen to a party while I commentate the race and make any kind of sense. So if you're in the party and you hear something that's suitable for broadcast, let me know and I'll do what I can. Wagner says Team Haas for the win. Luke Jobson is here as well. Frypepper, these guys keeping themselves busy and one of Casper's friends or fans is already here in the chat, Gulat. So yeah, looking forward to this one, guys. There's that famous grandstand that's never seen a single fan sitting in it. Always surprises me. And yeah, Luke's racing, so he's gonna be on the chat whether he decides to listen to the voice while he's racing or not. Entirely up to him, of course. Looks like bright sunny. I could really do with the drivers giving me a weather update. But yeah, JJ Dog is Luke, I believe. Certainly looks sunny enough out there in the pit lane. So we've got several cars making their way out already. I think it's Goldzik. No, is that a Red Bull out in front? Yeah, the Red Bull of Wax. Let's call him Wax because I think RSC might be a team name or something like that I haven't encountered before. Dry quali, dry race. Thank you very much for that, JJ Dog. Awesome. So RSC Wax is the first one out there on track. Drivers just getting some good gaps between each other. There's three cars together, the Haas, Mercedes and the Haas. And I think we've got a Williams up in front who got out there very, very early. Yeah, there he is, look. Jollerman is first out. So given that he's first out, we'll do him the honour of riding on board with him for the first lap. Williams looking good. If a little bit boring on that particular camera angle, I'll join the drivers on board as soon as possible. So just getting through that last corner. I don't think that was an optimal run through the final corner for Jollerman, but he's at top speed now. He's going to throw the car in, lift off, slowly descend through the gears as this never-ending corner, well, finally comes to an end, I guess, and the switch back into what is officially turn 4 now, and we accelerate up the hill. There's a nothing corner, turn 5, and then a sharp hairpin, which is a good overtaking spot for our drivers. Through this one fairly safely, and then the typical Tilke fast left-right in the middle of a track setup. Tends to separate the drivers a little bit. Then this corner can be easy to get wrong, but Jollerman through this double left-hander very nicely of 9 and 10, and then it's a short straight, tight turn, and then it's all about your preferred line through here. It's not an obvious one, but looks like he's almost touched that apex. He's got a good rhythm, and now we just look around, make any adjustments to the car, make sure we hit the DRS, and then wait for the braking point into the final hairpin. Nicely through there, maybe slightly hesitant on throttle through the final corner, and then a sprint to the line, quite a short run, and of course the first time lap goes to Jollerman, a 1:30.919, and we'll see how that compares to the rest of our F3 grid. Great to see 17 starters tonight, fantastic. I think there were a couple of doubts as to some people's attendance, but we've got there in the end. Looks like Goldzik is about to cross the line as Frypepper gets a 1:31.5. Goldzik, he was not on a lap, sadly. So Jesper Fay gets the fastest time by 1/10. Who have we got next coming up? We've got an Aston Martin who is Casper, I believe, about to cross the line. He's just going through the hairpin at the bottom of the track. Got a McLaren about to cross the line as well. We'll keep an eye on where he comes in. But Casper for the line for pole position, a 30.553. It's early days, but a good early lap. And Edzak has gone into second, so it's nice and tight at the top. We'll keep an eye on anybody else around there. JJ Dog is on a lap. Let's see, is it Janos? Janos for the line then, P8. Not perfect. Paul Jones goes P7 in the Mercedes. And then we'll just drop down the grid and have a look. I think it's the other Ferrari, is it? Of Maciek. I'm going to make a guess at Maciek. Maciek then for the line, he's just starting his lap, so no good. And JJ Dog's come in the pits, obviously invalidated, so unfortunately that one didn't work. Let's join Maciek. On track. See how this is going. This it's very difficult to see if a driver's performing well through that first two corners. Of course he's got a purple sector for himself, but it's only relative to his own time on the first run. Waiting for the car to grip in. Just allowing the car to bring itself to the apex. And then taking off towards the short straight to turn 11. Almost a hairpin this one. A quick switch back. The car gets unloaded over this crest. Easy to have too much power down, and then it's just a matter of waiting and easing the power on. It's all about your setup, but typically drivers will set up for a low downforce. Casper has gone pole with a 130.553, followed by Edzak and Pangrio, who was one of the leaders of the championship, in third in the Alfa Romeo. Maciek then is going to try and cut across this apex as much as he dares. Keeps the car within the curves, within the track limits. Maciek for the line then from P10. That's what he gets. P10, 32.399. Nice first lap for him. Is Patuka still out there? He is. Most of our drivers heading back to the pits at the moment for a second run. There's a driver right off in the infield there, just cutting across the track. I think that was an Alfa Romeo, but we'll benefit the doubt on that front. So McLaren just struggling through the right-hander of 8, and then the 9-10 double left. Nicely into the apex. So over that crest, you could just tell there's a little correction, but he wants maximum drive out of turn 13 and heading down to the line. He's got a couple of cars in his eye line. The one in front won't do any damage through the hairpin there, and the other car got out of his way very nicely. We don't want to see any blocking, obviously. So Patuka then, I think that's an invalidation just over that outside curb. Yeah, it looked like he just grabbed slightly too much of an apex through the final corner. Janos has invalidated, but I think he's slowing for the pits. Certainly is now anyway. And we've got Joloman coming through to get his first sector time, first indication of where he is. He's over his time at the moment, not going any quicker. A little moment there in traction. The curbs are generally fairly kind in China. I don't think there's anything too nasty. Maybe the final corner's apex is a little bit bumpy and difficult. But yeah, I don't think Joloman's going to get anything special out of this one. Maybe it'll be a bit of a different story for the Haas with Frypepper in charge. Frypepper in the middle sector. He's already up on his time. Here we go then. And spins the car around, unfortunately, just pushing that little bit too hard. Frypepper might want to just get a faster banker in before he goes too adventurous like that. Unfortunately, Frypepper going no quicker at this point. What about Edzak? Edzak is going quicker through the second sector, and enough to get himself on provisional pole. So this could be it. He's 600ths quicker, but that looked a little bit slow. Looks like he's got the car very, very loose in low speed conditions. So perhaps he's got the car very tight and stiff. No, he's pulled that one out. Into the pits then for Edzak. Jollerman is going nice and quickly through sector 2. So the Williams looking for an upgrade on his current fastest time. Pangria's put in a great time on medium tyres already. That sets that one in context. I think he's got some good pace for this race. So Jollerman then avoiding that inside curb bump, crosses the line, just goes one place faster, and it's super tight between pole and fourth place. They're all within a tenth of each other. Brilliant stuff from our F3 drivers. So who's next for our entertainment? We've got Jesper Fay has invalidated, but Murphy's out there. He's just starting his lap. Let's check in with perhaps the McLaren. I think the Ferrari's about to cross the line of Banks, and he will cross it, but backwards. So unfortunately, no improvement for him, but a big improvement for Wax, who goes 7th place. Let's head back down to that McLaren of Cones, I think. Cones, pole position. Wow, a 1:30.214. That'll do tonight, Cones. That's cool stuff. Well done. Good lap indeed. I say Banks won't be doing anything special, pointing in the wrong direction at the moment. Pangria's in the pits. His teammate though, Janos, crosses the line, half a second improvement. I think that's just his outlap though. So what about Patuka? Crosses the line and no improvement, just his outlap. Okay, so who else is out there? I think Jollerman just put one in, didn't he? So did Wax. I think Murphy might be. Murphy's heading into the pits. That's no good for us. What about Casper? Let's watch with Casper as he goes to get back his pole position. Nicely through the right-hander of 8 into the 910 switchback. Doing very well here. Slowing it down then. Tight corner. How high can he keep that minimum speed? Oh, he's patient. No, he's decided to bail. He's not happy. Not happy with that lap at all. I wonder if he'll try it and go again. Everybody on softs so far for their times, except for Banks. But we saw what happened to his lap previously. Petuka from nowhere at all. A new pole position, a 30.0. I wonder if we'll get a driver right down below the 130s at this stage of proceedings. Let's hope so, because this is getting super competitive now. F3 is obviously very, very tight in pace. certainly in the top 9 or 10 drivers so far. What about Edzak though? Edzak from P4, his best a 30.6, and now a 30.369. So we've got a McLaren front row followed by an AlphaTauri of Edzak in third now provisionally. I think Casper is going for a second lap. We've got 3 minutes of qualifying left, and he's slightly under that first sector. A nice, easy, gradual line through the 2 fast corners there. Really the fastest corners on the entire lap. Everything else is kind of slow or ponderous in some respect. Doing very well here. Looks like a good line, and maybe a slight correction was enough on that banked corner for Casper to spin round, and he'll be heading back to the pits for one final go. Frypepper's retired from the session. Frypepper, I wonder what's happened. He's gone off on the exit of 8. Let's see if we can jump to Jesper. No, his teammate Jesper's on an outlap. I thought we might be able to have a look and see. Let's go to Paul Jones then. He's about to go past the Haas, and we'll see what happened. Paul Jones going a little bit quicker. Look for that Haas in the background. I think the marshals have dealt with it already. So unfortunately, Frypepper will do no better than 12th tonight, and that's a big shame. Edzak out as well. Edzak has lost. We've got Paul Jones on a purple middle sector, so we'll stay with him, but looks like we've lost Edzak, or he's decided to quit out. I don't see him still on the track map, so maybe he just decided to leave, go get a drink. So did Patuka. He's going no faster. He's not going to defend his pole position from the pits. Crazy. I don't know how often I've seen that. Paul Jones struggling to make it out of the hairpin. Cuts across the apex nicely. Should get good drive out of the final corner, and straight up to P4. They had a purple middle sector, but a very respectable last sector there, and he goes P4. We've got very small amount of time left now, so we'll see who else is out there. I wonder if Konis is going to get through to start a new lap. Yes, he will. So who else have we got? Casper is on a lap, but he's slower currently. Joloman gets a better one, and Pangrio finally put the softs on, and that's what he had in the bank. A 29.921 does get under the 130s. What can Konis do? We'll join him very shortly. It looks like Jesper Faes made a mistake, won't be going any quicker tonight. Murphy starts his lap, but let's have a ride with Konis. 0.8 of a second up, so it says. No, that was my mistake. It's actually 0.145 of a second. Sliding his way out of the hairpin. He's got traffic everywhere. What can Konis do? And in response to Pangrio's time, he's almost got enough to get himself on the front row, get that McLaren back in the front row that it was just before Pangrio set his time. Frypepper said his leg was bleeding. I don't understand whether that's just sheer force of effort of braking or accelerating, or a unrelated issue. But Konis then got just 2 major corners left to run. Gets the car down, misses the apex slightly. Joloman's gone from the session, so he won't be defending, and Konis will go no faster, spins the car around on traction. It looked like potentially there was a car on the outside edge of the track that might have distracted him. Pangrio's going into the pits. We've got Paul Jones though. Paul Jones also in the pits. Come on guys, let's set a lap. That's what we want to see here. Potentially, we've only got Casper. He's cruising. Casper's on his way in. He won't go faster than 7th. Our top 5 have gone from the session. Who else have we got? Wax Is he cruising as well? So currently, just, yeah, he won't go any faster. And I think that's our session done. I think Casper's on his way into the pits. So, nice to have Josh stop by. Hey Josh, friend of many a league race, and Josh, probably my favourite interviewee of all time. So we'll see what we got going on. Anyway, cars getting into the pits. No one's going any faster. It looks like Pangrio got it from Patuka and Konis, Edzak, Joloman, Paul Jones, Casper, Banks, Wax, and Jesper Fay. Your top 10. JJ Dog, significantly slower from Luke Jobson. I think he didn't maximise that, and we'll see what he can do from the back of the grid. Just grab a drink. As I said, Pangrio got the pole, a 129.921. Patuka from Konis, Edzak, Joloman, Paul Jones, Casper, Banks, Wax, and Jesper Fay. Then, starting on free choice of tyres, we've got Murphy, Macek, Kalza, Fry Pepper, Goldzik, Yano, and JJ Dog makes up the entire grid, and we'll start from the 17th position on track. We looking forward to seeing what strategies everybody comes out with here. Yeah, happy memories from some of the guys chatting in the chat. I'll let you read it and make sense of it yourselves. But make sure while we have this lull between sessions, give us a like on the video, please, and maybe even make sure you've subscribed to Ero, because we've got racing all through the weekends, and it's super competitive and a highly prestigious league. So that's what we'd love to see. A dry race we are fully expecting, so we should be able to see everybody's strategy play out. I'm hoping to not watch any safety cars after recent races I've been enjoying, should we say, in different leagues, but we'll go for our formation lap very shortly, and the drivers step away. Amazon's strategies selection suggesting a two-stop, soft, medium, soft, medium, hard as potentials. I've definitely seen a soft, hard, soft work round here as well. And I have seen one person make hard tyres last, I think, 21 laps, which was quite an amazing run. So I know it's possible, but perhaps not advisable for everybody. So choice of tyres then, just JJ Dog has gone for the hard tyres from the back. So probably looking to just get himself off the line, stay away from trouble, and get into a rhythm, and get his overall race speed as quick as possible. Top 10 of course on softs, and then everybody else on mediums. So nice and easy for us to remember and keep track of everybody. It's not always super easy, but yeah, we'll Pangrio then, great qualifying time, dipped under the 1:30, the only driver to do so, and like I say, I think his main championship rivals are a little bit distant or missing tonight, so a good opportunity for Pangrio to stretch out his lead in the championship. So yeah, give me your predictions. Who's your pick for the win? Help me out a little bit in the chat. And tell me who is likely to win, who do you want to win, either or, but make it clear for me so I know who to be focusing on. Someone's running the dirt slightly on the formation lap, on the back straight, just weaving. Car's getting everything back. So the boss says Konis, Tuka or Edzak. Yeah, okay. So not fancying the look of Pangrio at all, the boss. I'll let him take that up with him later on. But we are assembling our grid. All the drivers made it through the formation lap without issue, which is great to see. And Gulla is here for Casper, as we've heard before, so he thinks Casper's going to get this from 7th. I'm really intrigued to see what JJ Dog does from the back as well. We'll keep a close eye on him. But we're almost ready to get underway. Here we go then. It's Ero, and it's the F3 Championship, round 3 in China. It's lights out. And go, go, go at the start. The Alfa Romeo away very well indeed. The first of the McLarens looking to get up the inside, but the Alfa will have additional speed through here. We need to try and keep this one as clean as possible, as it looks like Patuka getting through, but the Alfa Romeo gets back underneath. We'll be able to drive the McLaren off the circuit. We've got Williams of, is it Jollerman has T-boned the wall. I don't think he's going to be out, but we have got yellow flags as the McLaren of Patuka gets by Pangrio on the second time of asking, and we're away relatively cleanly there at the start of the race. So Patuka from Pangrio and Konus, then Edzak, Paul Jones and Casper made it all through. JJ Dog up already 4 places from the back of the grid. That'll do very nicely, and I'm always interested in which driver gets the first penalty as well. That's always something to watch out for. Give me a nomination in the chat if you know who that will be. As the McLaren turns round on traction, cold tyres. I think Pangrio actually touched him, but there goes your leader, as Konus is trying to make the most of that situation and come down the outside in the hairpin. Pangrio will have the inside line, we'll be able to run him out, but actually Pangrio not super aggressive, giving the driver some space, and in so doing, Konus gets by into the final corner. Drama at the start, absolutely, as now Pangrio is going to take that high outside line around the bank to turn 1 and try and get back past him again. I'm going to stay on the tower because it's glitching a little bit. Pangrio then back underneath the McLaren. He's been here before, giving a lot of respectful racing room, but perhaps a little bit too much room. Flushing in and out of ghosting, so we've got some connection problems as well. That's not going to help anybody. But Patuka right down at the back of the field, and so is Jollerman, as I think Patuka gets by a couple of cars, or Maciek in fact has dropped down. So a lot of nominations for Patuka and for Maciek, but they're going to have a hard day's work ahead of them. It's only lap 2, and we've had 2 major losses of traction. These cold tyres, very, very difficult to operate under. Pangrio then still only a 10th off the lead. I think it's more than that, in all honesty, and he'll keep catching down the straight, but he's quite a long way back. Who else have we got making moves? The Mercedes of Paul Jones is into 4th place, up 2 places. Fry Pepper's had an amazing start. He's up to P7. Always a good racer is Fry Pepper, I know that much. So he's catching the Ferrari of Banks, who's also gone up some places. And we had Goldzik has gone up 6 as well. But so far, the biggest mover, in a positive direction at least, is Fry Pepper in the Haas. One of the Haas's, second Haas of Kozachi, is struggling to get away out of the final corner. So far, so good though, as the drivers settle into a rhythm and start to manage these soft tyres and get through. Yeah, well, that was a good start, very clean. Just a couple of driver errors, but so far no particular pinballing going on, which we like to see. So Konus then on lap 3 has that lead. How close has Pangrio got? I think Pangrio's pace is a little bit slower than the McLaren's at this stage. Whether that's deliberate to keep his tyres fresher, we will wait and see. But Paul Jones is getting close now to the back of Edzak, so that's a nice tight battle we've got at the moment. I think Murphy's getting past Kazachi as well. Further down for 10th place, last of the points paying positions, unless of course Ero. Whoa, Ferrari banks, straight line that final corner and has gone straight into the barrier. Immediate loss and a VSC. So yeah, the Ferrari struggled to get out and just shot across the track. So we go straight into a VSC. Now I know the tyre wears high here, but is this too soon for our drivers to go into the pits? It is not, because Konis goes through, Pangria goes through, but Edzak elects not to. Casper is in the pits, almost doing a Lewis Hamilton. He'll be glad there's no gravel out there. And Casper in the pits. We've got Wax, Patuka in the pits as well. So Edzak inheriting the lead on lap 4, but they're still under virtual safety car, and we go green now. Driving a drive-through penalty for Joloman, over-egged the Delta unfortunately, so he's got some work to do now. Our first penalty goes to Joloman, who was already at the back of the grid. Unfortunate after that early exit of, I think, turn 4. Turn the car around just on cold tyres, so not a great start for Joloman unfortunately. But we're doing well at the front of the grid with Edzak up. Frypepper has now made it 11 places up, with Goldzik behind him as well. Goldzik's caught an extra few places just under those pit stops. And we'll have a look at the current tyre situation. So Frypepper is looking brilliant actually already. He's 1.2 seconds off second place, and he's the first of the cars on the medium tyres. Hoping to get a decent run out of these mediums. He might go medium hard. He might go onto a second set of mediums potentially. All depends on how he gets on here. Hello to Mikkel in the chat. Good to have you with us. Paul Jones on the hunt now of Edzak. Looks like Paul's got a little bit better speed, and apparently the medium two-stop strategies window's open. I'm not sure. I think the window's open for softs, but but not mediums just yet. Yes, Buffet is struggling. I think he's had a pit stop. No, he hasn't. There he is. He's just crossed the line on those soft tyres. Didn't pit, but is significantly further behind Edzak and Paul Jones, who are the other soft tyre holdouts. Look at JJ Dog up to P6 from the back of the grid. He's benefited from a couple of cars dramas, but not taking anything away from him. He's also looking in great form on those hard tyres. He's dropped back a little bit from Murphy, and it looks like Paul Jones has got a great run here. They'll get DRS the next time they cross the start-finish line, I think. So he'll have to, if he wants to get it done now, he'll have to do it with ERS or just pure slipstream and exit from this banked turn 13. You can lose aero easily, or you can tuck underneath the car ahead and get a great slingshot out of the corner. It looks like he got the former, as Paul Jones, beautiful pass there using DRS, gets past Edzak for the lead. So Paul Jones, lap 5, is I think our 4th leader already tonight. So he'll be pleased with that one, no doubt at all. And Frypepper up to 3rd as Paul Jones gets the lead and gives it up again back to Edzak. And Frypepper is now in 2nd position. Goldzik is chasing him down. These two have got brilliant pace at the moment. JJ Dog, of course, still doing well because he's got those hard tyres. He's not going to be pitting anytime soon off those, unless, of course, we get a safety car, in which case it might go to plan B. But at the moment, Frypepper looking good against Edzak. What does he do here? Does he decide to go for a move while Patuka gets fastest lap on fresh tyres? We've got a VSC, as I think Jesper Fay is having dramas. He's in the pits. I wonder if he's got some damage. No, it's Joloman's got damage. So another issue for Joloman. He's lost his front wing, sadly. So the race is neutralised for the 2nd time, but we won't have any sort of condensing going on of the grid, because of course VSC shouldn't really allow that beyond a little bit of good fortune or expert delta management, I suppose. The shape of this race has changed several times already. It's lap 6 of 28, and we're under VSC conditions after Jollerman lost his front wing. A little bit of a mystery for me how that happened, unfortunately, but we've lost Bankst. Jollerman goes into the pits to get his damage mended, and I assume right now that Edzak is going to go in. Wow, I think Murphy got that all kinds of wrong going into the final hairpin as cars slowed unexpectedly. Edzak will pit now, and there we go. Frypepper into the lead, and Wax gets a drive-through penalty. Frypepper turns the car around. He just gets the lead and turns the car round under traction. Astonishing. Just as I was saying he's in the lead, we lose that leader immediately, and we get Goldzik now, who's made up more places than Frypepper, and Goldzik is now in the lead. I think that does make it as many leaders as we have had laps. Quite the drama so far in this race 3 of the championship. Further down though, Pangrio on new new mediums is competing back with Konis. So these are your de facto leaders after the next pit stop, although the strategy will be a little bit of a mystery. So Frypepper stayed in front of those guys, but I do wonder if Pangrio and Konis are actually going to slow each other down by battling here. Might be better just to conserve a little bit of pace at this stage and not waste time with moves that don't work out. Frypepper's definitely holding them back though. Frypepper on much older tyres, still in a recovery mode really after that spin out of the final corner, but looks like Pangrio's got a great run out of the final corner. They'll both have DRS. He's trying to get the inside line, and Konis doesn't want to give him that at all. Konis, little bit of an outside squeeze, switch back move potentially for Pangrio, needs to be careful on traction and doesn't quite get it. The traction is much better on the outside of the penultimate corner, turn 14, much better, but he's got DRS on his own this time, and he closes up but can't get by. Takes a high line round turn 1. We'll look to switch back, get a good line out of the dip of turn 3, I guess we're calling it, yeah. And now into 4. One kind of follows the other. You could make an argument it's only 2 corners really, that one, but he'll get another bout of DRS shortly, and this is the battle from the cars that were in the lead originally of the race. And of course Pangrio had the pole position but lost out to both McLarens at different points on the first couple of laps. It's lap 8 of 28, and Goldzik is your leader with Murphy in second place, JJ Dog, Maciek, and then the cars we see on screen right now, Konis and Pangrio. We've got Frypepper in 7th, recovering after a little spin out, and Casper in 8th. Kaizachi in 9th, and Edzak down in 10th, has pitted, and we saw him take the lead just after the VSC. He's now pitted for hards, hoping to get 20 laps out of those hard tyres, and was in 10th place. So the first of our runners potentially who is pitted to the end, and the drive-through penalty drivers have already served their drive-throughs, so no penalties to pay at the moment, and long may that continue. Jollerman's gone from the session. I think he hopefully retired in the pits, as fastest lap goes to Konis. So enjoying those 4-lap old mediums right now, able to push on those. Keep it going. Most elsewhere on the grid, the gaps have opened up. I think Maciek is hunting for the final podium position from the Alpine of JJ Dog in front of him. Remember, JJ Dog from the back of the grid up to P3 right now, but his hard tyres, they'll be in a phase where Maciek's mediums are feeling better, and then of course that will turn around on itself. Around goes JJ Dog slightly, just going very wide through turn 9, 10, but he recovered. He didn't lose a huge amount of time, but a dramatically different line through there. And now they go into the stadium section, the empty stadium section, I'm going to call it. A little bit further down, we've got, I think, Pachuca. For some reason, apologies for stuttering here. Pachuca is closing in on Paul Jones, who's got a great run on Kozachi as well. So this one should get quite dramatic quite soon. We'll watch the DRS open on Paul Jones. He'll have about 2/10 before the McLaren DRS comes up. And what are we going to do here, boys? We're going to go 3 wide. Paul Jones brakes too late, and Pachuca just showing a lot of patience to let Paul Jones get back on the racing line there. I think we've got Fry Pepper in the pits just in front of them, so this now becomes the battle for 8th position. It looks like Pachuca just a little bit shy of launching a bonsai move down the inside, and Paul Jones got away with that very late braking moment. We've got Kozachi and a VSC for, is that Fry Pepper? Has he had a drama in the pits? No, it wasn't Fry Pepper's fault. He's having a regular pit stop, but that's going to help him not lose too many places. I didn't see the cause of the VSC, but potentially the medium runners might consider a cheap pit stop, but they've got quite a bit of the lap left to run. We've got yellow flags, of course, waving. Yes, Buffet, drive through penalty for speeding under the VSC. This is becoming a little bit of a theme, guys, unfortunately. Great track limit abuse kind of penalty frequency, but I think that's the 3rd drive-through we've seen already tonight for Yes Buffet. Not for him, but overall in the game. Yeah. So I think we've gone back to green racing. We've certainly disengaged the VSC. We've still got yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. But Goldzic will resume racing speed, and it looks like JJ Dog got a great run under that VSC and closed up against Maciek, and he also has Konis behind him. So it's only Janos with a track limits abuse penalty so far. Let's go back and look at tyre age, and JJ Dog trying to tuck underneath the Ferrari. He needs to be a little bit more patient. He's going to go around the outside of turn 3 as it becomes 4. He'll then get the inside line. The Ferrari goes completely over the lawn and slows right down. So Maciek ended up letting both these cars by. I don't think that was willingly, but yeah, you don't necessarily want to be out there cutting the grass with your front wing. JJ Dog then from the back of the grid up to P3 so far, and still got plenty of life left in these tyres. And not just that, he'll be quick at the end, because I'm sure he'll run this to get either mediums or softs at the end. So still looking really, really strong. Fry Pepper rejoined behind Edzak, but ahead of Pangrio. So he definitely made up a few places by pitting just as this VSC came out. Oh, sideways moment for Konis there, just losing a little bit of aero behind the Alpine, but he gets a great launch slingshot out of the stadium corner at the end of the last sector of the race, and gets by with a nice simple DRS pass. He can tuck back onto the racing line. Job done for Konis, but of course JJ Dog's tyres might come back to him in this battle. I think JJ Dog not fighting it too hard. We've got an Alfa Romeo pointing the wrong direction on the start-finish straight. Who's going to be really slow? Is that Janos? It is. Janos has lost his front wing. It could well be that frequent problem on the final corner that we see over and over again, of cars just losing traction or hitting the bump too hard, spinning the car around. It's a bit of a, was it Giovinazzi that did that on his debut season in China? But Janos losing his front wing, losing positions, and also losing his ability to stay on the lead lap. Lap 12 then of 28. Goldzic is your leader with Murphy and Konis, JJ Dog, Maciek, Pachuca, Paul Jones, Kasper, Kozachi, and Edzak are your top 10. Let's go back and have a look and see what Edzak, Pangrio are up to. It looks like Pangrio's got by Fry Pepper just after I said how Fry Pepper had got out in front of him. So, unfortunately, not going brilliantly. Gap's just opening up slightly on track. Edzak, this is your closest battle. Keeping an eye on the delta times, of course. 11 laps on the mediums so far for our leaders, Goldzik and Murphy. So they haven't pitted yet. Neither has JJ Dog or Maciek. The rest of the grid, just Kaizachi. Maciek pits right now. Under a safety car, we have safety car conditions, and I did not catch. It must have been Fry Pepper. Fry Pepper is out of the race. Where is Fry Pepper, and what happened? Fry Pepper, tell me, what happened to you, my friend? That's really unfortunate. Pepper, oh I see, he's got some sort of repairs done to his leg, that's why he's bleeding. Maybe that started to bother him. Maybe it was something completely different. But we have our first full safety car. Wow, Janos completely messed up that pit entry. That was he out Lewis Hamilton into the Chinese pit lane, knocked the right front corner off the car, and will take no further part. The only saving grace of having done that is that he doesn't cause another session, and we just lost. I'm sure it just said we just lost Goldzik. Has he got a disconnect? Is he ghosting? Will he be back? Fry Pepper went on the curb too early on the power, and I can confirm Goldzik is actually ghosting. It said he'd left the session, so hopefully his AI will keep running while he tries to reconnect. Anybody watching the chat who's still in the session, they could do him a favour by inviting him back in as his car pits, whether he wanted to or not. Murphy's in as well, so the best opportunity for those medium runners to pit. But Konis goes in as well, so does JJ Dog. So JJ Dog is going to shed those hard tyres, and we'll see what Edzak does. There are 15 laps to run, so that's achievable on a set of mediums, but it looks like the consensus on the grid is to put a new set of hards on. Edzak stays out. He's only just put hards on himself. And then what does Maciek do? He goes through, and we'll watch with Pachuca. Goldzik has pitted and come back out in the lead. Perfect timing. Had a nice gap. Pachuca stays out. Paul Jones won't be pitting. He's only just pitted himself. Casper, same. Kaizachi, the same for him as well. So what will Pangrio do? Probably almost exactly the same thing, and Jesper's quite a long way back, so it's relatively undramatic what's going to happen with him. Looks like there was a disco for Goldzik, but he's back. So if you could have a disconnection just as the safety car comes out, you're certainly very lucky. So that's worked out beautifully for Goldzik. I suppose it's possible he went to race director, but now he's just picked up a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. What can he do about that? If I'm assuming that was just a game glitch, and that's going to mean he might be able to appeal to have that removed. Let me know, of course. Let me know if I've got the rules mixed up here. I do actually commentate for a number of different leagues with different rules around this. It seems as if going to race director is not allowed, but Goldzik got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags when he was in the lead of the race. So that's certainly interesting. Not ideal, and it looks like Wax's car is getting out of everybody's way. Most of the drivers then will be looking to run this race to the end from this point. The hard runners are going to struggle to get the car back under racing speed, and they're going to need to be super careful on the first few big traction moments on cold hard tyres after the safety car. think we're going round again. Bernd Mailander fancies another run, and he's gone round. So let's stop, and at the halfway point of our race, lap 14, Goldzic is your leader, pitted to the end, as is Murphy and Edzak. We've got Konis in 4th place. JJ Dog has put mediums onto the end. That could be a very smart decision from Konis and JJ Dog. They will have a big grip advantage at the start of this restart. Maciek is 6th. We saw Pachuca in 7th and Paul Jones in 8th. Casper is in the 2nd of the Aston Martins in 9th place, so a good haul of points for that team. Kaizachi picking up the final point of the race so far. Pangrio is down in 11th, so that section of the race really didn't work out for Pangrio, our pole man. And Jesper Fay is the last of the runners because we just lost Frypepper, and Janos, Joloman, Bankst and Wax have all gone from the session, although Wax's car is still running around ghosted. So a fair amount of drama, but like I say, respect to the drivers so far for not tripping over track limits. That's very handy. I do think that one penalty we've got on screen should get taken off after the race, if that's allowable. If not, please let me know. But it did look like that wasn't his fault at all. Goldzic then will be relieved to see the safety car in, or will he? I think the medium runners would have probably wanted another lap under the safety car to help with their tyre life at the end of the race. But no joy for them. They're going to have to run 13 laps on the medium tyre. So just have to be a little bit careful, and there's quite aggressive warm-up happening, as you would of course expect at this stage. These hard tyres are going to need a lot of aggression put into them, but Konis is doing exactly the same on the medium, so legitimate attempts. We'll see what Goldzic wants to do. His connection looks poor at the moment, so hopefully it will last till the end of the race. Hopefully he's had his one disconnection. We don't want to see another one. That would have been a great moment for him to go, but he was not willing to push at this stage. Will he do it? He'll do it on the entry to the final corner, so it gives Murphy the least amount of time to respond. We've got a Haas turn round. It can only be Kaizachi. Kaizachi, exactly what I was talking about, those cold hard tyres, as the cars scream into the first corner, and we'll be learning just what grip they've got at their disposal. A little under rotation of the inside front from Edzak, who struggles away in turn 4 and is vulnerable to Konis. Konis going to the outside, will try a switch back here potentially. No, he's going to try and ride it out the long way, because then he gets the inside line for the next left, and it's those medium tyres. Beautiful, beautiful work from Konis, knowing exactly what his car was capable of, and Edzak really struggling on these hard to warm up hard tyres, and they've got a little bit of age in them as well. So JJ Dog will be looking at the back of the AlphaTauri and hoping it won't last very long. Konis looking brilliant on these mediums. He's really racy and he's making hay while the sun shines down favourably on him. Forgive me if that peculiar British idiom doesn't exactly communicate particularly well across lots of different European languages, but Konis 1/10 back. It looks like he's got less top speed without DRS than Murphy has. Goes around the outside. That's a brave move, but he's got brilliant grip out there and a great move. That's my overtake of the night so far from Konis, and Konis up to 2nd place, and he can see his target for a potential win in front of him, regardless of that penalty that I do think will disappear on us after the event, so he can't bank on that one, and he needs to make an overtake work on Goldzic. So Goldzic from Konis, then Murphy. A little bit further down we've got some action going on, as JJ Dog is the next one to line up behind Edzak. Edzak defending to the inside, down here. We saw Konis go around the outside of him. I wonder if Edzak is a little bit wiser to that now. I think he is. I think he would have driven JJ Dog around to feed him into the grass. The speed that JJ Dog wants to take through these fast corners is so much greater than Edzak can manage. But because he's so close, he just couldn't maximise it out of 10. He's vulnerable to the McLaren behind him. Gives racing room on the inside. He'll get the switch back inside round here. Just about a car's width on the outside of the bank corner there. Fry Pepper we say goodbye to. Little moment for the McLaren. Now the Alpine gets to hopefully open DRS, does he? No, he lost DRS down that straight. So nothing, DRS has not been re-enabled, I believe. The McLaren down the inside. These McLarens driving very well in Shanghai. But JJ held on very nicely through there, and remember, he came from the back of the grid. We've got a car turn round again. It's Goldzik this time. Goldzik has gone round under traction out of the final corner. Just recovering now, giving up the lead. Made that job pretty easy for Konis, who on medium tyres has the opportunity now to, with a clear track in front of him, no lap cars to worry about, because after the safety car, he's got a 10 lap high pressure, but he's got the opportunity to get to the end now. Patuka has gone from the session. Looks like we might get another safety car. We do. Kaizachi will see his accident. We can see it just on the left there on your screen. Coming through the exit of turn 5, and Patuka out of the session. We've caused another safety car. Konis will not be pleased about that one, but he will get a nice little launch off the as the only medium runner there. JJ Dog is the next medium runner in 4th. So we'll go round and we'll have our second safety car period of the night, and that's disappointing really, but such is racing in F1 2021. So your new order on lap 18 with 10 to go is Konis in the lead from Murphy. We have Edzak in 3rd place, followed by JJ Dog come up from the back of the grid. We'll just watch these leaders to see if anybody elects to pit. I don't think they will from the lead. Then we've got JJ Dog. The Ferrari of Maciek goes in and is almost nerfed into the wall by Casper. Yeah, he got a penalty for that move. A little bit more patience on the way in. People do have different lines going into the final corner, and he picked up a penalty for... Goldzik's managed to rejoin despite causing... Yeah, there we go. So Goldzik back up to 6th on hard tyres. Soft tyres for the cars that can afford to gamble at the tail of the field. Maciek, Casper, Paul Jones has gone on to mediums. It doesn't have a new set of softs, I think, for the end. And Jesper Fay still touring around at the back. I think he's still ghosting, yeah. I think a disco possibly for Jesper. So he might even get points out of this one for his ghost car. Who knows? So that's your order on lap 19 as it is now. Mikuli says we might not have 10-point finishes. Hey, I mean, 10 points finishes would be, well, double what I experienced on last night's race, but there you go. Not in ERO, I must add, but yes, it's this game and this particular cycle of the game at this point. Drivers are still losing. Drivers are still learning their way through the new game mechanics. The game has definitely taken a 3 or 4 levels harder step, particularly on traction, and that's where we're seeing all the dramas. Is the exit curb traction and just dynamics, and it's also particularly difficult for drivers when they have gone off track to rejoin and get back up to racing speed because their tyres have overheated and they need to cool them back down again. It's a very, very difficult, fiendishly tricky game to master, especially at this stage And all respect to the drivers who can manage a league race with no flashbacks, with no and managing to get through without tripping a penalty or having a spinella. It's very, very difficult, I have to say. Safety car will go around again. We've picked up some penalties there. Let's have a look at that situation. So a 5-second each for Maciek and Kasper. I'm not sure why Maciek got his, but we did think Kasper hit Maciek going into the pits. And then a 5-second also for Goldzic, but we think that one will get taken off. But unfortunately, he's down in 6th now after that moment on the way out. Hey to Ero F3. I know him under a different name, but hey to him in the chat who joins just to say hello. Nice of him. We've got an 8-lap mini sprint to the end. Still to go, as we're just watching the drivers keeping those hard tyres warm. Very, very difficult job to master. We've got a mix of stops, of course. 2 stops for Konis, and then 1 each for Murphy, Edzak and J-Dog. J-Dog's had a great race. I think he'll be in contention for driver of the day tonight. We've got Pangrio on 3 stops, then Goldzic and Kaizachi on 1 each. 2 for Maciek, 3 each for Kasper and Paul Jones, and then 2 stops for Jesper Faes, who's been running around as AI for quite some time now. So less said about that, the better. The safety car will be on his way in, and Konis will take the restart. He held on to those medium tyres as you'd expect him to. JJ Dog 13 places up, and I think he's still got mediums on, so I think he's still got some places still to go. But Murphy definitely deserves a good mention as well. He's gone up 9 positions, so very nice for Murphy. But Konis will have seen where Goldzic restarted last time on the entry to the final corner. Your rivals have very little they can do to fight that one. But that's the way it is. I understand that Ero F3 Racing had a fantastic debut, 2 races for ERO's PC1 division. Konis does exactly the same, goes on the way out of the final corner, leaves Murphy for dust, and Edzak is pretty close behind him. So perfect restart for our leader, who's on better tyres at this stage. Towards the end of this stint he will struggle, but hopefully he'll be able to build a gap. JJ Dog close behind as well, looking good for those medium runners. He's got Pangrio behind him, who started on pole, has tripped all the way down the field and has got back into P5 and may well be able to get on the podium after these guys on hard tyres are going to struggle, especially Edzak with 13 lap old hards. Honestly, I'm a little surprised he didn't pit to get softs on, but I suppose he might prefer defending to attacking. We'll see how this all shakes out. But the Alpine looking very, very quick of JJ Dog again. He's been very patient, I should say, getting past people so far tonight. Not too aggressive, maybe getting very close there. He tucks underneath, he's got amazing traction. This one should be all done. No! Round he goes! He had great traction, but got into the dip in the banking, and he won't thank me for catching that one on stream. Goodbye Driver of the Day award for JJ Dog, unfortunately. JJ Dog turns the car around, and he's actually going to get passed possibly by Jesper Faes, and the ghost of Jesper Faes, I should say. So we have another safety car after that incident. Despite the fact that we're still running, it must be the debris, and please let us say that that's the end. I think JJ Dog just slammed into the wall on pit exit. He certainly went very quickly. No, he's okay, he's running, he's going to get some soft tyres and a new front wing on. But Konis must wonder what he's got to do to get to the end of this race. 6 to go then, and we hope we can get through to the penultimate lap at least without another safety car, because I think the safety car won't come out again. But that's 3 safety cars tonight, 2 VSCs, We've spent a lot of this race under yellow flag conditions of one description or another, and like I say, unfortunately that seems to be par for the course at the moment with our drivers. We've got 11 runners, 10 really, I suppose. We've got 10 humans running at the moment. Thank you very much for joining us, for getting us to the end of this race, staying to the end of the race together. Anyone think anybody other than Konis is going to take this one? I wonder. Maciek has got new softs on. He'll be quick off the restart, and it'd be perfect for him. He can push to the end, because he's only going to need to amass about 4 or 5 racing speed laps on those soft tyres. So that's looking good. Although of course he's got that penalty. I think Goldzik's will go. So whether he can get 5 seconds up the road from anybody else in front of him after passing them is another matter. But really, I think Konis might well hold on to this one. But of course, the experience of JJ Dog there would suggest it's not simple to hold on right to the end. As the cars near the end of their stints, it does get difficult. Of course, the tyres are at the very worst point. The cars are light, which should help them, but of course the changing balance, the different shifting conditions that they go into. Sometimes drivers are a little bit low on fuel and need to start conserving fuel for the end. It's a fairly safe bet that you can underfuel the car by a few laps, given the frequency of safety cars. But of course, the one time you decide to do that will be the one time that you don't get a race with a safety car, which I have seen. I have seen people run out of fuel, unfortunately, at the end of the race, just in this first few months of F1 2021. Pangrio in 4th place on medium tyres. He will be looking behind him, a little bit of nervousness to see Maciek, and that might stop him getting himself onto the podium. I do think he will be aggressive off the start, and he needs to be to make up those places that he lost. But he could potentially be on for a 2nd or a 3rd position here tonight. His tyres are 1 lap older than Konis, and he won't need to do any battling at all. So I do hope the safety car will be on his way in. JJ Dog currently up to P10 after that moment, running very high at different points in the race, and unfortunately just that little moment on cold tyres. Oh, Pangrio goes off, so he's going to lose places, and he won't be allowed to take them back because he went off track. So Pangrio, apologies to him for catching that one on stream. A little bit of an embarrassing moment under the tyre warming stage of the safety car, which is coming in, and we will hopefully get a clean 5 laps, or at least a fast 5 laps to the end of this race. Remember, there are 5 to go. Konis, Murphy, Edzak, Maciek, Goldzik, Kasper, Kaizachi, Pangria, Paul Jones and J-Dog are your runners at the moment. So what does Konis do again? Does he make the same decision as last time? It's working very well, so on the one hand, if it's not broke, don't try and fix it. On the other hand, the element of surprise is most everything in restarts, so doing the same thing may not always get the same result. I think he goes that little bit early, so just keeps that gap very nicely from Murphy. Edzak no closer to his rival either, but a bit further down the grid things are getting a little bit spicier with the 2 Aston Martins together of Goldzik and Kasper. Then close up we've got Pangrio, who I'm assuming is driving with a fair amount of anger in the helmet after making an error there, looking to get past some of these hard runners quickly. He really needs to, but he's going to end up following them through this next section because there's no way by. Maciek is catching Edzak. Let's go back up and have a look at him in the Ferrari. Maciek He's got a 5-second penalty to pay, but he's got very soft tyres and a very much more amount of grip as Murphy turns round. Another car struggling on those cold tyres, so that's just made the job even easier for Konis. Maciek already up to the podium positions minus any penalties, and he gets that job done. So unfortunately we lose another podium runner to a Spinella. Edzak then will be paying quite close attention to that as Maciek comes up. Will he try a dive bomb? He's going to have loads more traction. He tries it, sticks his nose up. Edzak wisely just leaves half a car's width to the apex and allows him to go through. Keeps the place, Edzak. Konis fastest lap, of course he does, because he's got clear track ahead of him. He's got all the time in the world to do this, and Maciek doesn't manage to get by Edzak at this point. Kasper, wow, puts it down the inside. That's a dangerous position. Generally speaking, when a car swipes across you like that, it's only you that's going to lose out. But they continue to do battle, so a good save for Maciek. He'll be looking to get down the inside into this turn, but not quite. Edzak holding on for dear life. He doesn't really want to let these guys go past, because when one gets past him, he'll lose momentum and he'll probably lose to all of them. But with them all having penalties, he probably could afford to at this point. Konis driving away. He's put a 3.6 second gap onto the hard tyre shod Edzak, who is really going to struggle on these tyres to the end. It's going to be a 20 lap stint for Edzak to get to the end of this race. We've got yellow flags again for our drivers somewhere in sector 1 and 2, or between or sort of halfway between those two. Maciek gets another time penalty, so that's going to completely take him off the podium now, even after these penalties. The Aston Martins looking like they might benefit from Kasper moving aside. I think Kasper's got the penalty that probably won't get taken off. Maciek gets by Edzak, a little bit of wheel banging. DRS now enabled for the last 2 laps under racing speed, and yeah, Maciek gets by, gets the job done. He'll try and gap Edzak, which is not impossible, but of course his tyres are starting to fade himself now. I do think Kasper could do with letting his teammate by, because his teammate will potentially get that penalty taken off. Could do a little bit better team communication, but Kasper, his eyes are forward, and he's just only got eyes for the road ahead of him as he gets by Edzak into the first hairpin. Nice move. 3.9 seconds the lead for your leader. He can afford to get a penalty now. Potentially, I'm sure he won't want that. But Kasper is now 3rd place. I do think Edzak will get that podium position though, and even potentially Pangrio after these penalties, but Goldzik I think will be there at the end of this one. Paul gets a penalty, so we've got 10 human runners and 4 of them have got a penalty question mark to the end. Let's see where we get to though. This is looking good for Konis now this stage. Maciek with the lead, with the 2nd place and the lead of this group at the moment. But remember those penalties. He's got 8 seconds to pay. That's going to push him backwards. The Alpine looking quick through the final corner in the background, as it looks like Kasper Goldzik getting by Edzak now. That's pretty important for the potential podium. And the Alfa Romeo of Pangrio will try and go around the outside of him. He's got better tyres. Edzak's run to the finish might well be a hiding to nothing if he can't hold some of these drivers back. Round goes the Alfa Romeo through the hairpin, gets the job done, and gets himself ahead of Edzak, who is tumbling down the order. Remember, he was 2nd just a few moments ago. Kasper looking close to Maciek now as well. Goldzik is behind him. I think Goldzik will improve his position. Let's see what we got going on. right to the end here. Konis with the 5-second lead now. His speed's been incredible. He's absolutely my driver of the day after a couple of those fantastic moves and dominating the last portion of this race. He's got one to go, and the Alfa Romeo looking racy. We've got some action just behind them as well. What's Casper going to do? He keeps tucked up behind Maciek. He doesn't need to make a move, and he's only really going to lose if he makes a move and it goes wrong. Pangrio, they're looking awesome behind Goldzik. DRS enabled, gets a beautiful pass done on Goldzik, as just ahead of him he's got a best view in the house of Casper's challenge of Maciek as well here. So Pangrio back up to 4th place. He started on pole, he's got no penalties, he could end up finishing this race 2nd place. So if he just needs to keep it on the island, keep it on the black stuff, and he'll get it done. Edzak has managed to get back into his rhythm and shouldn't drop any further places, we hope, at this stage. Murphy looking like he'll get the final point of the day. Who's got the fastest lap at the moment? Let's take a look at that one. Of course, it's Konis with his awesome speed. So Konis looking to maximise the points haul from tonight. He's heading down into the empty stadium section for the last time. We'll just watch behind him and make sure we catch him as he crosses the line. But yeah, Maciek, Casper looking wide through the bank corner. Pangria will have a beautiful run on him at the end here. He could well get himself onto the podium before penalties. DRS open. He'll press the loud pedal, he'll press the ERS, he'll use everything in his power. Goes around the outside of Casper. I think that move's going to get done, but let's make sure we give Konis all the glory tonight. Konis takes the win for round 3 of Ero's F3 in China. Beautiful move. It looks like Pangria's got up to 3rd. Maciek will cross the line, but Pangria will get 2nd place from pole position, but that certainly doesn't tell the story. I suspect Goldzik will get 5 seconds further up the road, so it's very close whether he'll keep that 3rd place. Edzak then, JJ Dog, dramatic race, starting from the back, up to 3rd, back down to the back, and now up to 4th to finish. Beautiful. I'd love to see his position change graph at the end of this one. That'll make for some interesting reading. But yeah, beautiful race. Congratulations. JJ Dog gets the official driver of the day, but if I was awarding it, it would go to our winner, Konis. And that's there he is on the podium for McLaren. Certainly happy to take the win, and that'll do his championship no harm whatsoever. It's champagne time in China. Konis then for Portugal for McLaren. And we've got an Alfa Romeo and an AlphaTauri on the podium. I wonder if that might change pending stewards' decisions, but we will give you your order as it appears in front of us. Konis from 3rd on the grid gets the win and the fastest lap, 26 points. Thank you very much for Konis. Obrigado. We get Pangrio gets 2nd place from pole, but yeah, quite a dramatic race for him. For Edzak as well in the AlphaTauri. We've got JJ Dog in 4th, Casper in 5th, Paul Jones in 6th. Maciek gets 7th place. Goldzik, I think, will do better than this in the end. He gets 8th place. Murphy 9th, and Kozachi gets the final point. We lost through the session Jesperfey, Petuka, Wax, Fry Peppiano, Yoloman, and Banks. We lost very, very early on. Well, a dramatic race. I'm hoping the drivers will let me know their kind of review of the race, but I'll let you know if I can see anything pop up. But I do have to head off very shortly. Some apologies going in. That's good to see. I think JJ Dog just making an apology. Diogo Moraes, I think that's Konis potentially, or at least another Portuguese driver, saying he had a glitch on the MFD and it was stuck on all of his radio stuff. Very difficult. I think that was the claim that he had used AI. So obviously trying to make some adjustments, but he thinks he can prove that it was a legitimate use of AI. Dramatic race, fantastic race. I've thoroughly enjoyed that one. If you'll have me back, I'll see you next week. If not, tune in to Ero all through the weekend long. We have racing all the time, and the only way to make sure you get that right is to hit subscribe. Give us a like. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to. I'm at WebORed5, and you can find out how to follow my other work. But as I say, I've been Webbo. This has been Ero's F3 round 3 of season 6. Konis is your winner. We'll have a look at the championship as it comes. The standings come out later in the week. And until next time, guys, I will catch you on the next race day.